Welcome back to Rodecast, guys. Hope you're doing well out there. I'm your host, Rod, as always. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the same exact local Washington, D.C. news station that we looked at in the last video that I did, which I'll link over here, where we talked about how they covered another useless story of an illegal being arrested and how a resident in DC was outraged about the fact that an illegal was arrested. Now, this video is basically the same thing, except a lot more dramatic. And once again, my point remains, why are you covering this as if this is news when there are much more important things happening to actual Americans in DC? Other crimes that you should be covering, but no, they waste their time covering every single illegal that's arrested that they can find. Okay, so they're doing the same exact thing here, and their intent is very clear of why they keep covering these videos.
Now to a story you'll only see on News 4 as the DC police takeover continues. We have new video of local and federal officers taking a man into custody as he pleads for help.
News 4 cameras were rolling today when it happened on the National Mall. Our Amy Cho was there. She was live near the Washington Monument with what she saw. Amy, we know we are still waiting for a lot of answers to a lot of our questions here. What can you tell us at this point?
Yeah, guys, we were here on the National Mall this afternoon covering a different story when we saw two police officers had pulled over a driver with an Uber decal on his car. Those officers were talking to the driver for several minutes, and then things quickly escalated. We do want to warn you, some of the video in this story may be upsetting.
News 4 cameras were rolling as a U.S. Park police officer and a D.C. police officer questioned a driver on the National Mall. The D.C. police officer opened the door and the driver got out. He appeared to try to escape, and that's when several masked agents tackled him to the ground.
His car was literally surrounded by multiple ICE and local police, and he thought he was going to get away here. I don't understand the thinking of some people. I guess it's desperation. That's the best way to describe it. As far as the news cast goes, they said they have a lot of questions. Well, let me simplify this for you, okay? An illegal alien broke into our country and was working for Uber Eats. The ICE police officers there and the other officers, federal officers, arrested him under the suspicion that he was an illegal here because Uber hires like millions of illegals all across the world where they operate. I'm kind of exaggerating, but not really. Most of the delivery drivers I get deliveries from, for DoorDash, for example, don't speak English. I would say about 6 out of 10. Okay, the other 4 are either real Americans or at least speak English, but 6 out of 10 no English. Okay, so that's how it is, and I'm sure it's the same with Uber. I don't use Uber Eats or any kind of Uber products, so I have no idea personally, but that's what I've seen, and that's what I've noticed with these rideshare drivers, because these are the jobs that have a low qualification standard. Okay, you don't even have to speak English, so it's the perfect kind of jobs for these illegals who break into the country. And one more thing, notice the way that they framed the video. A man screaming for help. It's like already they're like slanting in the direction of the illegal. Oh, we should feel bad for him. And that's the purpose of this video. That's why they covered these videos. They want us to feel bad for the illegals. Unfortunately for them, if you look at the comment section, that's not what's happening with the response from real Americans who are not happy that these people have invaded our country. Yeah, if you want Americans to understand you, you're going to have to scream and cry in English. Okay, there are many people, bystanders, that are just walking by because people are done with this stuff. Okay, and they're not trying to interfere. At least here, I'm surprised because there are a lot of bleeding heart libs and open borders people in DC. So I'm surprised there wasn't a mob forming around them. But at least in this particular incident, nobody came and tried to stop the ICE officers, as has happened in some other places like Massachusetts, where hordes of liberals have come and tried to stop ICE officers, putting themselves on the line as well, by the way. And I don't want Americans to get hurt. Even if I politically disagree with them, especially white women who are liberals, I don't want them to get hurt. So I want them to stay away. And but nevertheless, their ideological extremism of believing that everybody in the world gets to invade America gets the better of them sometimes, and they try to stop ICE officers from doing their job. Although there's been less of that lately. In the beginning, when the raid started, there was more people trying to interfere. It's been less nowadays. That's what I've noticed. Although in some instances they do try to crowd ICE officers when they're doing their job.
The man yelling repeatedly he hadn't done anything and saying he works and wants to be here with his family.
Yeah, I don't care how much he works. He's working to steal an American job, and nobody invited him or his family here. Why do you think that you can just break in? And he hadn't done anything wrong, really. Violating federal law and breaking into America illegally is not something wrong, according to this. And the news reporter is repeating it, what he's saying, as if it's an objective statement. It is not. He did do something wrong. He broke our laws. If I break into some random country like Mexico or somewhere else, or Japan or China, whatever, without any papers and any legal right to be there, you better believe they're going to drag my ass out, especially in China. They hunt down Americans or anybody else who's there illegally, and they deport them, which is their right as a sovereign nation. Okay, and we have the same right. And people are surprised that those laws are being implemented now. Okay, because they hadn't been implemented for so long. Even under Republicans, they didn't really do deportations the way that Trump is doing. And that's the best thing about him.
At one point, 6 men could be seen kneeling on the ground over the man as he continued to scream.
Even criminals can scream and holler. That doesn't mean they're not guilty. Okay, and he is guilty. You don't get to violate our borders and pretend like you didn't do anything wrong. I don't care what your problems are in your own country. You're going to have to go fix them over there. We don't care about your problems, okay? You're not an American and you don't have any rights here, or you shouldn't have any rights here. He has some limited rights. You know, after you break into our soil, unfortunately, the way our law works, they get some rights, although not the same rights as citizens.
Then put the man into an unmarked vehicle. One of the agents was wearing a vest that said HSI, or Homeland Security Investigations. Others
Juan is still screaming like random things in Spanish, like nobody's understanding you, man.
had vests that simply said police. None of the agents would respond to our questions.
Can you tell us what he's been charged with?
What he did wrong was he illegally invaded our country. That's what he did wrong. Clearly, some bystanders, like a couple of them who are filming and are there, but they're not physically trying to stop the arrest. So that's good. They can scream all they want. They have First Amendment rights as citizens, unlike these people who are not. They have First Amendment rights, so they can scream all the crap that they want. It's not going to make any difference.
Mi carro, mi familia tiene papeles, mi familia y mis hijos. Por favor, por favor.
As the detention was taking place in front of the African American History Museum and the Washington Monument, dozens of National Guard troops could be seen standing to the side and watching. The detention comes a week after D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith issued an
What do you think they're going to do? You think the National Guard is going to step in to help some disgusting illegal who invaded our country? Nobody cares. Okay, we want you all out.
Police Chief Pamela Smith issued an executive order allowing officers making traffic stops to notify ICE about undocumented immigrants they encounter.
So I was surprised by that directive by the head, the police chief over here, who basically made it possible for the local police to cooperate with ICE during these traffic stops and other state level, or not state, but like DC level things. DC is not a state, so I can't call it that. But like, you know, the local level stops that happen, if they suspect that there's immigration violations, they get to now notify ICE. So that was a weird change by the commissioner here. I didn't expect that, but it's good. That means that we can actually, that's why there are more arrests being made, because ICE is being notified of more illegals who the locals encounter, the local police, and they're now allowed to notify ICE. So it's basically, DC has become a non-sanctuary state, kind of. Okay, there are other laws that are still protecting them, but when it comes to the police, they are able to cooperate with feds now, at least to some degree, to hunt down the illegals. So that's an improvement. And I would give credit to the police commissioner, or whoever maneuvered her into that position. Okay, she didn't do it before, but she did it now. So clearly something changed. I don't know what, but something changed. And she's doing the right thing, which is helping hunt down criminals who broke into our country. That's always the right position. And I give credit to everybody when they do the right thing. I don't care if they're left, right, whatever. I just want positive things to happen to America. And getting illegals out of this country is a great thing for America.
And we have reached out to both ICE and DC police to ask why the man was originally stopped, what he has been charged with, where he was taken, and what will happen to him next. DC police have not yet responded to our request for comment. A spokesperson for ICE tells me he is looking into the matter, but has not yet provided any information. He also just texted me a short time ago. Thank you so much for your patience. These are insanely busy days for ICE.
The point is that I can answer all of her questions here. Okay. ICE was doing their job, arresting illegals. There must have been some kind of probable cause that notified them to this person's status, like the fact that they don't even speak English. That's usually the first giveaway. Okay, this guy broke into the country illegally. That's why he was detained by ICE and then arrested and taken away eventually. And no matter how much you show him screaming and yelling like a lunatic, we're not going to feel sorry for him. Okay, people don't get to break into my house and then garner sympathy from me for when they're being arrested by the police. That's what they're trying to do here. Okay, that's what they tried to do in the last video, where they tried to get us to feel sorry for some illegal Arab who broke into the country and was arrested by ICE. Okay, local news, some local news stations, whoever's planning these segments, it's everywhere. It's not just one, but it's everywhere around the country. Every single local news station is trying to basically subtly or not so subtly demonize ICE and to venerate the illegals who are being arrested. They're trying to make the illegals look like all such victims who need help, and making ICE agents look like the thugs who are dragging these people away. Okay. And now, do I think that they needed 6 people on this guy? No, I think that was a little bit over the top. But nevertheless, they were trying to, he was resisting and they were trying to get him to comply, which the police have all the right to do. In some arrests, there is no force because the person is calm, so they put the cuffs on him, they put him in a car, and they leave. But some arrests look wild because the guy, the criminal who's being arrested, is unruly, and the police had to use force. And then the local news uses that to make ICE look bad and to venerate the illegals. Okay, now this video was more fair than the others I've seen. There's some that are like completely on the side of the illegals, and they talk to like immigration activists, and they don't talk to anybody from the other side who are against immigration. Okay, they only talk to the immigration advocates, most of these local stations. If you want to seem like a fair outlet, then you do interviews with both sides. So you talk to an open borders person and a closed borders person, and there you go. You have more fairness. And I will be doing less criticism because then you're doing more fair-minded work. Okay, I make these videos because I don't want people to get the slanted view that they're trying to present. I want to point out the slanting of their presentation. Okay, so here they didn't talk to any immigration advocate, so that's good. Usually they do. They talk to some bleeding heart, like in the last one, Tyler, whatever his name was, that guy, the black guy, Tyler D'Souza or something. They talked to this guy, and he was like, "Oh my God, you know, it's so horrible how they're arresting all these people on the street. He's just trying to work." Yeah, I got it. Okay, you love the illegals, you love open borders. Too bad we don't have open borders in this country. We have laws, immigration laws, and people who don't follow them get arrested and dragged back to the countries that they came from. Okay, and that's a beautiful thing, in my opinion, and most Americans agree. That's why Trump is president and Kamala Harris is not. And that's all I got to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you guys in my next one. Stay safe out there.